There's this old joke in franchising, and it goes something like this. Where are my leads? Now, you may say that's not an old joke in franchising. That's a question. But the reality is, it is a joke in franchising because this is what every franchisor chases. Where are my leads? Now, leads, as defined within franchising, are those who are inquiring about business ownership. But what has always surprised me about franchising is that we use this number. It's going to take 100 leads to get one deal. And I think about my own business, and if I had to work through 100 different people to sign one client, I would have no time to operate my business because 100 hours to get a deal would flip the deal upside down. And so for whatever reason in franchising, we don't look at time as money. And time against tire kickers, people who are underqualified, not ready to buy, and actually not even interested in owning a franchise, sometimes interested in owning a job. Time wasted is opportunity to optimize our approach to franchise lead generation. And so I'm on this mission. I want to change the discussion to applications. Applications are viable candidates who are 1 inch further along in the process than a traditional lead. Now, when we think about, if we were to zoom out way outside, like outside of this world, and look at how many leads, how many franchise buyers are really out there, and what is the spread? How many brands are vying for that same candidate? It'd be tremendous. And so now we look at this and say, okay, we have, say, 4,000 people, brands competing for this one person. Let's say Nick is out here. Hi. And 4,000 brands here. I have the right money and I'm ready to buy. So now they pounce. But now for Nick, who is already a little bit nervous because Nick hasn't gone into franchising. I sound like a professional athlete talking in third person. Because I'm not ready to, or I don't understand what franchising is, now all these brands are pouncing on me and saying, come here, buy me. All right, well then logically, what do I have to go to? And what people who have bought a franchise before have told us, it's one of two things. It's like, show me the money and show me the culture. And so on the money side, how much does it cost for me to get in and how much can I make? It has to be sound. So there's all these brands. If I take out all 4,000, I'm going to say 75% don't have a viable business opportunity, meaning 3,000 brands. If I said, how much does it cost to get in and how much I can make? The return on investment is not strong. The opportunity to actually pay off the entire investment and get into cash takes too long. There's too much effort, time, money, energy that goes into that business. And so those are not viable. So we're going to put those 3,000 to the side. And we're left with 1,000 brands that still want Nick. But now Nick has to look at each of those brands and say, how does it align with me culturally and how does it align with me financially? And even though let's pretend I'm financially qualified for every brand of those 1,000 that exists, now I have to sift through and get comfortable with that brand. And so what I do is I go around the web and I do my research and my homework. And right now, 6.4 months as of July of 2023, 6.4 months is how long it takes from Nick deciding I'm interested to Nick filling out the form. Not even Nick buying, that's just filling out the form. And so because that process is so intense, I believe that applications are what we want. We want to drive applications. And so now you narrow down your focus. This is where the disconnect typically happens. Franchisor has a larger goal than their realities on lead generation. So frustration sets in. And so the joke, where are my leads? If I told you the amount of conversations I've had with a franchisor where I'm like, let me explain how everything works in lead generation. They're like, yeah, 6.4 months, $25,000 in franchise marketing, sound website. Oh, and we got to have a good offering and we got to have a good business opportunity and we got to show our culture. Okay, I agree on that. And they're like, great, let's go to work. And they're like, but where are my leads? And it's because these pressures that we put on our back, they're imaginary. They're unicorn pressures They're forcing us to think that we need to grow faster and larger and bigger than we need to grow because, we're looking at the wrong indicator. At the end of the day, franchisee success is where you make the bulk of the money as a franchisor. And so you need to understand that, because now your investment into franchising changes. And I've used this example before. You can certainly grow taller. Taller means adding more unit count. But if your unit level economics don't improve, you grow taller and it's a lot more work, and you actually diminish your own return as a franchisor because your profitability decreases because it's more work to work up. Yeah, let's say this is your average unit volume. If you put your attention to getting into this and this and this, now what happens is, 1, you're making more off of royalty. 2, you have more money to support the franchisees and build infrastructure for your franchise. And 3, because you're getting fatter, your franchisees are more likely to expand. The last thing I'll say when it comes to lead generation, and if you've made it this far in this video, first of all, click subscribe below. But if you've made it this far in this video, here's the last thing I'll say. Celebrate your victories. A resale is a victory. That means you sold a unit. Someone exited your system, which was the whole purpose of buying a brand that had more value than being an independent. You've had a resale. Use that as an opportunity to tell that story. Your franchisee expands. Use that as an opportunity to tell the story. Your franchisee hits a milestone, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, expansion, whatever it is. Use that as an opportunity to tell the story. Signings, openings, use that as an opportunity to tell your story. Telling your stories and developing those stories is how you get more people excited about being a part of your system. And so lead generation isn't hard. How to drive leads is leveraging humans, perfecting the business model, and showcasing the culture, thought leadership on down. And it's not overly hard to do this, but you can certainly set goals on lead generation. You can certainly inform your budget based on your data. You can certainly deploy your budget based on what the outcomes are that you hope to achieve. But ultimately, whatever you sell in a year is what you're going to sell. Hyper focus in on supporting your franchisees. That will magically, unicorns will magically help you drive more leads. That's Lead Generation 101 with your host, Nick Paz. Hopefully you got some value out of this discussion. Take care, everybody.